Traffic in Choma district has slowed down to a crawl as long queues of vehicles parked along the Great North Road or lining up at the only fuel station still selling diesel. For weeks, diesel has been in short supply across the district, forcing many diesel-powered vehicles, especially heavy-duty trucks, used for transporting of goods and services. Residents are now grappling with a severe shortage, with all the 6 fuel stations reporting dry pumps. The crisis has led to long queues and sporadic fights among motorists scrambling for this scarce commodity. The impact extends beyond the private vehicle owners, transport of patients to hospitals and movement of agriculture commodities from rural areas have also been hindered.
So 23 hours baibona woti yasika matraki ayima kusika boya kuyuno so sibonetwa sika kuzwa kumizi kotukana kuti nabanga kuti fuero yanda kuma awasuna chita kuisiyanikisha kuti so muchoma problem ya fuero yasuma ena tunombe bori kabulo tukamba kuti aisoreke kuturanganya kamuturabweza abantu bajiswa turabweza abantu bakutitwa.
Drivers are now calling on the government to find a lasting solution to the fuel situation, emphasizing the crucial role the commodity plays in driving economic development.
Ipenziriko kuno tujene kuti dipenziriko kuno fuero ilitu shupide mamota mulodi aide kuimikirapo aide kupakinga mumalodi bantu takwe kwenda kabotu imota yabola ide kuimapo mulodi yazima no fuero ponya trombako byo challenge yakuti government itutonde hewo byo kuti twetereko fuero tegwa imamota atakali byo chikale kale byo mulimba KDP
tukuromba ngurumende kuti ikagaye kwashe kuti imani bebo yayindiki hondoka mbobu yobu kubere mapenza aragomera unise toturamye yotokara ibere ya fiero kambo mafiero ngotubika tari gabo fiero ko uri pere muhonto ya kuti bantu balijane kuyanda kuti fiero jaraburi.
Tryford Bugowa Jr. reporting for Crown TV News in Choma District, Southern Province.
Good evening, Zambia. Tonight, we are not talking about statistics. We are talking about the price of survival. With fuel prices hitting record new highs, the cost of meal being a luxury for many, the new dawn promises of 2021 for some Zambians, a number of Zambians, are beginning to seem like a distant memory in the land.
Indeed said. My name is Alfred Chimba, and if you're not for sure that government tells us that macroeconomics indicators are possible, but you and I know for sure that we can't eat indicators. And tonight we ask, is there a credible alternative, or is opposition just a collection of disgruntled voices with no unified plan?
Tonight, we are joined by a veteran of commerce and a very key figure in the People's Pact. Honorable Robert Sichinga is joining us this evening to look at the topic that we have highlighted on your screens. Honorable, welcome to this program.
Hello, good evening to you, and also good evening to our viewers. Thank you for having me on your program, and I hope we'll have a good discussion.
We must have a good discussion. And to just be blunt, to start off this conversation, you know, the Zambians are skeptical. Mm-hmm. They see an opposition that seems more focused on internal squabbles and pacts than, on the actual policy issues. Is that the position, the true position of the opposition, or are we seeing an opposition that actually has solutions to the problems that Zambia faces today?
Right. Thank you. Thank you for the question, and I think maybe it gives me the opportunity to just lay groundwork before we come into the details and responding to the issues that you've put forward. First and foremost, I'm representing the People's Pact.
Indeed.
All right. I'm Vice President to President Fred Membe, Dr. Fred Membe, who is our already chosen candidate for the 2026 presidential election as far as our pact is concerned. The second thing I think that is important for us in this discussion is that in 1990, leading us to 1991, we made a decision as Zambians. We took a decision that we were going to go to multi-party. Multi-partyism means that you are going to have many parties, as the case might be. In this case, we've got, from that time, it was basically the UNIP and then the MMD. All right, the MMD was a movement for multi-party democracy until it became a party called MMD. In other words, at that point in time, there was a split. Come December 1990, the government of the day, of President Hakainde's government, decided, yes, we're going to alter Article 4 in the Constitution to allow for additional political parties coming from a one-party state. So the decision as to whether you're going to have many parties or not was already made at that particular point in time. And if we're counting from that time to now, I think you'll find that we are almost at 35 years now or thereabouts. So I think that's not for a point for discussion because we're already there. It's incorporated in our constitution. It's part of the dispensation that we're going to have multi-partyism. However, in this particular situation, it looks like we are pitted against the ruling party, against the opposition who are in the majority. And the ruling party can only be one, or unless it is a pact as well, or what we call a government of national unity, or a coalition government. Those are the possibilities that you can have. Now, to answer the question that you have raised, it may appear like the opposition are several voices because there are several political parties. And I don't know whether you know the number of political parties we have in the country. They are in excess of 100. Significantly excess of 100. So you are going to have different voices coming out and saying, this is where we stand. Let me state from our position as People's Pact that we prefer, obviously, a reduced number of opposition parties because most of the differences in the political parties are to do with ideology. They are to do with where you stand on the one item or the other, rather than on the fact that you are going to have many political parties, if you see the difference. So in this particular case, not only are you going to have different voices, you are also going to have different opinions on how to solve the problem.
Talking of the People's Pact,
yes.
Quick enough, Honorable. I understand that, there's been this misconception now,
yes.
especially now people feel that the People's Pact is just a marriage of convenience designed to settle old scores. What is your take on that?
Well, you said about settling old scores.
Yes.
We have no scores to settle with anybody. We have no scores to settle with anybody.
But I believe you have people coming together with different ideologies.
There will be. This is why I give that background, so that we can establish where we are standing. So different positions are inevitable because you've got different political parties. But what you should be asking me, how much is the difference in terms of the philosophy? The pact will obviously attract people with similar views. In this particular case, we've got, we had 4 organizations. Now we've got 3. We've got the Socialist Party, all right? We have the movement for change and equality. We've got the UBZ, which is the United for a Better Zambia. But also, this pact, the People's Pact, is different. It's not just political parties that you are going to invite. We've also opened ourselves to pacts with civil society, with the faith-based organizations, with special interest groups who are speaking to specific issues. For example, you are talking to the trade unions. For example, you are talking to the faith-based organizations, the churches, and so on and so forth. You are talking to professionals. You are talking to teachers. You are talking to different groups of people. So they will have specific aspects which they are seeking to be addressed in the government that is going to be formed. And our approach is that we want to form a government of national unity, government of national unity, GNU. Why? Because then you can consolidate the issues that you have talked about. You can bring together the issues that have been raised by each interest group. Let me emphasize, interest group, interest group, interest group. besides the political parties. So while I've mentioned to you the political parties, they are the youth, for example, that are in this particular pact, okay, that have said this is what we're looking for. They are the women in this particular pact, this is what they're seeking. There will be farmers in this pact who are looking for different. So the issue that we are talking about should be what are the interest groups that you're incorporating, which I've just mentioned to you. So to answer the question that you have raised, yes, you will have them because the demands of our citizens are diverse.
Okay.
They are specific to specific areas. So it can't just be voices that are unique to socialism or to socialist policies. It will be spread out. So each one of them will say, for us, this is what we're seeking.
All right. At the start of this program, we played a video
Yes.
of, fuel shortage in Joma. It's not the only district
Yes.
that is experiencing that. The country
Yes.
is experiencing fuel shortages. And yesterday, we did see the Energy Regulation Board announce the new pump prices. And for diesel, the percentage by which it's seen an increase is over 20. What do you make of the current position, especially that the government, through the Minister of Information and Media, Honorable Cornelius Mwetwa, mentioned earlier on last month that the country must brace for an increase in this commodity owing to the war in Iran?
Okay. It's a very important question that we need to respond to. Okay. Honorable Mwetwa and the government in general had been told not once, several times, right from the beginning when they took away some of the subsidies, okay, number one, that there will be consequences. The second part that I think is important, a decision was taken at which Indeni was shut down. It was a decision taken much earlier than before the war in the Middle East, correct? So a policy position was taken by this government. And when we critique, it's not because there's vengeance or anything else. If the policy is wrong, it will be wrong regardless of which government is involved. Okay? And in this case, with the removal of subsidies in itself was a dangerous thing. And now, what have you seen? You want to subsidize. How has the subsidy now become okay when you refused it in the first place? This is what we call mistaken policy positions that have not considered the consequences. The Middle East issue, the Middle East war, yes, has had an impact. There is no two ways about it. It has, because it has constrained the availability of oil in general. There are other issues, and we're going to talk about that. So what is the position we should have taken before this happened? This government is reactive. It is reacting when things have gone wrong. And there will be other issues I'll mention to you as we discuss this. That is the last thing you want, because then your state of preparedness is that you haven't provided for that in the budget. You have to find a supplementary budget. You have to do an emergency budget. You have to adjust. So the issue that I'm mentioning to you is that the government took a deliberate decision to shut down Ndeni. So you've got no fuel available that is waiting to be refined. Therefore, the offshoots of that production, when you've got what we call commingled crude, all right, you're not going to have the paraffin, kerosene. You're not going to have the heavy fuel oils. You're not going to have those products available. They are all being transported into the country in the form in which they are being used. And that is a wrong policy position to have. And when we talk to it, you can't say, therefore, you're looking for vengeance and so on and so forth. So the issue of what the government has done is exposing the weakness and the poor policy position that the government took in the first place. And you mentioned the issue of the clip that was played just before we started this program. That is itself an indication. Have you got a reservoir now? Do you have a reservoir? And if that is the case, how much is it? For how long have we got the reservoir? It is the same with Food Reserve Agency, the same story. In other words, just before let me just complete this particular sentence. This is important, Chimba, because if you make decisions, you need to consider other possibilities. How about if this happened? What about if this happened? That's the policy position. My training, I'm an accountant, I'm a management specialist. So I want to tell you that that's what, when you do strategic planning, those are the things you consider. Even in government, it's the same. Government must consider, supposing this happened. So the fuel situation shortage should, yes, it will have an impact, but it should not have as a devastating impact as now you already have no fuel. Then what happens? You come to grind to a stop. Now, when we criticize that, as members of the opposition, we have the duty to remind our colleagues in government that this is a failure.
Talking of the subsidies, I believe, yes, you've stated that this was actually blunder on the UPND just to cut on the subsidies. But if you rather return as People's Party in power, are you going to bring back the subsidies on fuel? And just in that sense, which specific sector will you ensure that you cut just to pay for it? Could it be health, education? No, you're not cutting anywhere. Let's go back. Let's look at the economy. Okay, what is the elephant in the room right now in our country? Right now, and even between you as journalists, what is the elephant in the room? The elephant in the room, let me tell you, is that we do not generate sufficient revenues. In fact, unfortunately, as I was rushing to come here, I left the yellow book behind. I wanted to come and demonstrate to our viewers and yourselves. If you look at the yellow book, it normally has about 2,000 pages. Of that 2,000 pages, about 1,950 pages is all about expenditure. What the country as a government is not doing is generating sufficient revenues to meet not just the developmental demands, not just running the government, not just issues of subsidizing, but it is also covering several other requirements in terms of that development you talked about. So the point I'm making to you is this, that we have always run, for the years that I have been involved in government, and I've been involved 35 years, we have always run a deficit budget. In other words, we don't generate sufficient revenues for government to meet that expenditure of running the government itself, of the development, of the emergencies that arise in the government, and they always arise. Okay, so because of that, you asked me the question, what would you do differently? First and foremost, you should not have shut down Indeni. Okay.
It should never have been shut down. I'm talking about fuel now. We should never have dedicated that refinery, that pipeline, to one organization, to one group, right? And for obvious reasons, I'm not going to mention the names here. But you have a pipeline which belonged to Tazama Pipelines, right? Built in the 90s, coming from Dar es Salaam into Ndola at Indeni. At Indeni, there are tanks, reservoir tanks, but also along the line, the pipeline, there are tanks along the way, which also keep your fuels. So this war will at some stage come to a stop. But if you've got sufficient stocks along the way, from Dar es Salaam all the way to Ndola, and also at the tanks at Ndola, you can mitigate that particular situation. So that error, that failure to do the right thing on policy level is the consequence of what we're seeing now, because you've got no fallback position. Okay? Right. And I can tell you, I've worked at Tazama, so nobody can question me. Right? So having said that, you then now have to look at the issues. If we did it differently, we would not have closed down, Indeni at all. Because that Indeni not only supplies the day-to-day fuel of petrol, diesel, and kerosene, it also provides to the mines, heavy fuel oils. Okay? You are also talking about the tar that is left behind, that you use for building the roads. So this thing has got consequences. So when that decision was being taken, it was incorrect. I was one of the people who criticized it. Not belonging to a pact, People's Pact, but as a person who has been in government, as a person who has been worked on the mines, as a person who understands the economy, these are the things that we're pointing out to government. They never listened.
The UPND government, when getting into office, talked about subsidies, and they said that the previous government, or previous administration, had borrowed excessively just to cover these subsidies.
Yes.
And that debt needed to be dealt with.
Yes.
So they entered into a deal with the IMF and the now very famous debt restructuring.
No, it's not restructuring, it's rescheduling. It's not the same thing.
What's the difference?
Okay. When you look at a debt and you say, I've restructured it, it means the composition will change.
Okay.
Okay? When you tell you, I reschedule or reschedule, whichever the pronunciation you want, what you're doing is we are delaying it. That's the difference.
So this is a delayed payment.
This is a delayed payment. And this is, you see, you have to understand this economy works as one. The delay means that it is you, the two journalists and your colleagues of your age and your children who are going to pay for this debt.
So
now, hold on. It's very, very important to understand you are going to pay for it. Now, where will you get the money from? Where will your government at your time, because we will not be there, all right? Where will you get it from? What you have done is you have taken the debt of this generation and passed it on to your generation and to your children. Because if you reschedule the debt, if it was the debt was due to be paid in 5 years' time, you say it's going to be paid in 15 years' time. I'm not going to be there in 15 years' time. I know that for a fact. So you have to pay for it. The question is, where will you get your capacity to pay for that debt? Now, because you're borrowed, this must continue to be paid for the next 15 years or so. You have rescheduled. Remember, it's different from what happened in 2005. In 2005, we had a debt write-off. Remember the HIPC completion point? Chimba?
Yeah.
HIPC, highly indebted poor countries. We had a debt, sovereign debt, external sovereign debt of 7.2 billion US dollars. In that arrangement, the debt was taken out and others provided capacity to absorb it, and the debt was written off complete. There was no more debt. We had zero in 2005. This is 2025. 20 years later, what is the debt? What debt did the UPND find that PF left behind? And here I'm going to say the Edgar Lungu administration. What was the debt? According to the government of UPND, about 15 billion was external. And there were several others, 84 billion, I think, in local currency. You're talking about bonds, you're talking about the treasury bills, and so on and so forth. These are debt. They are government debt through the Bank of Zambia, okay, which have to be paid as well. They have to be paid. There's also debt that is owing to suppliers, which has not been paid, even to this day. That's the one you say, oh, we are liquidating the arrears. That's what is referred to. Then there are also arrears to do with the government costs themselves. The things of leave pay and the allowances and so on and so forth. All these are costs that government is still owing. According to my own calculations, according to my own estimates, and this is not government verified, it's not coming from Zamstat, the UPND government, since they got into office the last 5 years, they have acquired an additional 15 billion US dollars. Where would they get the money to pay for that back? So the issue is whether it is the PF government under Lungu or whether it is the UPND government under HH, is the same issue. They're all getting debt. I'm asking you, where will you get the capacity to pay the debt when your time comes, when that debt which I haven't paid now which has been rescheduled comes and falls due?
Honorable Sichinga, we need to get as much from this interview.
It's important to understand. Yeah. You see, we talk to the surface of this. We don't get to the bottom of the problem. So when you offer the solution, it's superficial. It is not going to the basic problem. So even as you interrogate me, I want you to understand this is economics in the real sense of the word. Okay? This is where it starts from. If you don't have the right solution now, it will come back to bite you later. This is what has happened here. So you talked about the issues of the rescheduling of the debt. I am telling you, to reschedule the debt is maybe easier. That is not a write-off. You still have to pay that obligation. The main thing is that you must now find how you cover that deficit in your financing. Therefore, you can't afford to give tax holidays to the mines. Let me say to you this. In 2021, when the UPND government was coming into office, what was the price of copper?
Talking of the mines,
but I want, because you see, that's where you're going to get the bulk of your mine. Okay. This country is a mining country, so its income is coming from the mines. The biggest component of your government at the moment, if you look at the ZRA report, the biggest component that comes up is pay as you earn.
Indeed.
It is value-added tax. It is customs and so on and so forth. Those are the big components. It's not Companies Act. And mineral royalty tax now is a very small portion.
Now that you've mentioned...
The UPND government, listen to this, the UPND government moved the mineral royalty tax from 6%, which the PF government left it at 6%, and halved it to 3%. What does that do to your revenues? What does that do to your revenues? It halves your revenues. So meantime, what you do as a government, you go to the IMF and you go and borrow to finance what? Development. Do the road to Kalumbila. Who is carrying stuff from Kalumbila? It's the mining companies, whom you have already given a tax holiday to. Today, as you and I are discussing this matter, what is the price of copper? $14,000 per metric ton. Is the government participating in that? No.
Honorable Sichinga, you've mentioned the issues surrounding mining, and now let's look at mining as well as the foreign interests.
Sure.
And on this call, we're going to bring in Mopan as well as KCM.
Yes, that's right.
the government claims they've unlocked the mines, and the opposition says they've sorted it out, and I believe that's also your stance. Now, if you were in charge, would you re-nationalize these mines?
Yes, I
or
would.
are you just looking for a better term from the same investors?
I'll just do that. And the reason for it is this. Which is your source of revenue? I've just defined to you here. Your basic source of revenue for the country, is your mines. Mineral royalty tax is an important component, and I want the viewers to understand this. It's an important component. What do you have in your hands as a country? What is it that you have that you are selling to the rest of the world? You are selling copper. What are you producing? As we start at the moment, at the end of last year, 2025, you produced 820,000 metric tons. The price today is at 14,000 dollars per metric ton. What is that generating for you? You've got the calculators, you can work it out. How much are you participating in that? How much is that bringing to your revenue, to your treasury? How much is it bringing to you? So to answer that particular question that you are raising to me, is that you must ensure that you maximize what you are generating from the major activity in the country, because the biggest employer in this country is the government, followed by the mines. When I was working for ZCCM, the total number of employees in ZCCM was 56,000 employees, 56,000, employed by the company directly. Each family has an average of about 8 people in that family. If you multiply that figure, it gives you that 500,000 people on the mines are supported because of the mining activity. So you cannot ignore that. And also it's generating sufficient foreign currency to help you with that particular process. So to answer that particular question,
Indeed,
is that if you do not have, don't have shareholding in there, like what has happened now in terms of Kansanshi mine. The government had 20%. They released that, and they're claiming that this was not a sale. If you release shares, what does it mean? In fact, I'm shocked that it would have been allowed even to be said by a person who claimed to be a minister or to be president to say it's not a sale. And they claim also that the Attorney General had agreed with their position. Then what was it if it was not a sale? If you release shares, what is it? So you release that 20%. Can you receive dividends when you don't have shares? Can you receive dividend? No. Let's come to Mopani. You've talked about Mopani.
yes.
All right. Mopani was 100% owned by government. Do you think that all these mining companies, all these companies that say they have bought these shares, do you think they use their own money? I worked for the CCM as group financial controller, and I can tell you, it doesn't work like that. They go to the market, they go to pension houses, they borrow this money at very, very affordable, interest rates. 4%, 2%, 5%, depending on what you negotiate on each particular project. Once you've done that, that is the money now you invest in this. And you also normally say, because it's a development issue, for example, the Kalimbila, the new mines on Northwestern, they take time to develop. Maybe you require 5 years to 10 years. During that particular time, you have to pay for those items. So where are you standing? So if you don't have shares in there and the dividends are being paid from the proceeds of that production, you are not going to receive a dividend because you're not a shareholder. So now, just hold on. You talked about Mopani. Right. The president was very proudly saying we now own 49%. 49%. But you had 100%. So what would you have received if you had retained those shares? You would have received 100% of the profits from the $14,000 per ton sale price. Correct? So out of the 820,000 metric tons, how much is used locally to do value addition, to create jobs, to create employment for our people, to create value, to be able to increase the value that you are selling for export? How much of it? I worked as Zamefa, fortunately. I worked as Zamefa. You know how much this country consumes in terms of that copper, the 820,000? No more than 10,000 metric tons. Are you not going to create jobs? You won't do it. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
I do follow you. You've talked about Zambians owning the economy. Now,
yes, they ought to.
If you, as People's Pact, were to form government,
yes,
what are the 3 specific laws that you would, enact that would, make sure that that the mines are benefiting the Zambian people, and also that the monies that are realized, the dollars that are realized from these, transactions
Also benefit the Zambians.
Benefit the Zambians in the first 100 days.
Okay. Now, you know what? It's, this is also always a very simplistic approach people have of 100 days. In 100 days, which is 3 months, if you are a serious government, your basic work during that period, and I want to answer this particular one, in that first 100 days, your job is to look at what you are taking over. Okay? You look at what you're taking over.
I thought that's what you have done already.
No. What statistics are you going to have? Do you not have the correct figures?
So are you making a
comment? No, I'm answering your question. You first of all look at what you're obtaining. What is it that you are taking over? That's what we do in management. In serious management, that's what we do.
But you're criticizing something that you have not looked
based
at?
on what is available to us in terms of statistics.
But what if what is available
I'm answering
is what is making them make the decisions they are making, because you don't have those statistics?
But there is also what is in public domain. We use what is in public domain. If they're disclosing,
so if
which they ought to.
If you were to go by what is in public domain,
yes,
what would you enact?
We would normally take the first 3 months to review what we are finding on the ground to confirm what we're working with. And definitely we will renegotiate all these agreements, all of them. All of them. Why? Because we want the Zambian people to have a better say. We want to have a better holding. We are not excluding private sector participation. Remember that. But what we're saying is that no one else from another country is coming to develop our country for us. Nobody, however much they come here to make money. You have to understand that. They come here to make money. So what we want is a fair deal for all of us, which suits their circumstances, but also suits our people, because we want our country to develop. Nobody, however aid you might have, and thanks to Dambiso Moyo, Dambiso has given us a book called Dead Aid. It's basically saying to us that if you depend on aid, you know that you're not going to progress. Whether it is not IMF that's going to solve your problems. IMF does not produce copper. Zambia does. So what you are going to do is to look at what you require. And if you are not participating in the ownership, you are not going to receive dividend. If you can't receive dividend, you cannot receive the income that is necessary, whether it's foreign currency or any other for that matter, or in value addition. So yes, we will renegotiate. Yes, we will increase the ownership of that. We will definitely review it with the people concerned. And I can bet you my bottom dollar, they will not refuse, because they are making such a killing at $14,000 per metric ton. It's such a killing, and we ought to participate in it.
Quick enough, yes.
We will look at several other aspects, because it's not just one aspect, it's not just the mines. While they are the major contributor, there are other aspects of the economy that are important for us to be able to resolve.
Honorable Sichinga, quick enough. Let's, before maybe we go into looking at the pact credibility and internal turmoil, let's quick enough touch on the exchange rate mirage. I understand that the kwacha has stabilized slightly. I don't know why you're laughing, but the kwacha has stabilized slightly, yet the cost of imported spare parts as well as goods,
they are not coming down.
haven't dropped.
This is a typical case. I'm laughing because it's a typical case. You know, having worked off the mines, all these are problems you go through all the time. So I'm laughing because it's a known thing.
Okay.
Listen to me very carefully.
Indeed.
Was the exchange rate at 29 kwacha to a dollar? Wasn't it at that level? Did it not get to 29?
It was.
Yes, it was. What made it come down? The factors at play. What made it come down? What is the rate today?
Today we are trading at 18, 19.
No, it's at 19.
Yes.
19.20 as of this evening. Okay? What was it last week? It was at 18. How was it stabilized? Tell me. Come on, Chim.
So 18 and 19 is not good?
No. But was it not at 24 a month ago?
It was.
You see, there was this big thing about how this is one country in Africa is doing this.
Yes, we made headlines, international headlines.
All right, international headlines. Are you sure?
Best performing
currency in the world. You know what I said? This is an illusion.
But they say numbers don't lie.
No, but I'm telling you. So why have they changed now?
There are several factors.
Because of that, all right. Because of that, the business community that are importing things don't know what it will be next month. Because they don't know, or because of uncertainty, they will not lower their prices. I'm answering your question.
Okay.
They will not lower their prices. They don't know what it will be like. In accounting, we have what the system we call LIFO, right? Last in, first out, or FIFO, first in, first out. So what they will do is when they are costing their stocks, they'll cost them on that basis. You understand? They'll cost them on that basis. So if they feel that, oh, well, I'm not clear because I think next month this might go up, the exchange rate will be at this level. The exchange rate, even according to the Minister of Finance himself, he says, oh, there will come a stage where we must stop it, continue to go down. I thought he would have said, no, we want it to go down to the last level possible.
Which one is the last level
so that it
possible
would
for
then
you?
reduce the cost of importing.
Which
We
one
have
is the last
import
level for
inflation.
you? Yes.
All right, you want the last one? Let me tell you what it was. In 1971, when I was going to do my accountancy, in the UK, the exchange rate between the dollar and the kwacha was this. $1 was equal, $1.12, $1.12 was equal to 1 kwacha.
Which year was that?
1971.
1971.
Yeah, you were still in heaven. You were still, both of you.
Still an idea. I was still an idea by then.
But I'm just saying to you, just write it down. It was $1, 12 cents was equal to 1 kwacha. Or 1 kwacha was equal to $1 and 12 cents. Okay? You could buy your vehicle, Datsun 1200, at 1,480 kwacha. That's what it was. I am telling you that. Right? And I was training as an accountant. So I'm giving you facts. So to say that any time the figure comes down, therefore it's a good thing, or when it goes up, it's a bad thing, it doesn't follow. Let me give you the reason for it. When you bring that down, the price from 24 kwacha to $1 to, let's say in this particular case, to 20 kwacha to $1, it is lowered by 4 kwacha between them. It's cheaper by 4 kwacha. It does not translate itself into a lowered cost of living in terms of the price of the commodities that we import on the floor of the shops. It does not. Now, if I'm getting my salary in dollars, right? You get your salary in dollars, and let's assume for this particular case, your salary per month is $1,000. Okay? When the exchange rate moves from 24 kwacha to 18 kwacha, how much will you be receiving? How much will you be receiving in kwacha terms? Less. How are you going to afford? If you're receiving less now, how are you going to afford? And I'm saying this because I'm an accountant, so I can tell you figures that you guys don't consider. You have moved from, let's say, moved from 20 kwacha to 18 kwacha. When it was 20 kwacha, multiply that by 1,000. How much will it give you? At 18 kwacha, multiply that by this 1,000 kwacha. How much will it give you? You're getting less. So is your ability to afford it better or not? So what I'm saying to you, it is a double-edged sword. It may be useful in terms of imported costs so long as those costs do genuinely come down. If they don't genuinely come down, then you do not have a benefit because you haven't lowered your import cost. Today we have been told the inflation is single digit. Are you feeling it? Are your groceries cheaper? Can you afford it more because now the exchange rate has changed? Can you feel better? Can you feel your feet?
I think the silence between us is able to give you
an
answer.
It's obvious.
Yes.
Because you're a journalist, you're not going to answer me. But I'm just saying to you, listen to me.
Yes.
This deceit, this issue of propaganda is not helping the country.
How is it?
We must confront the issues the way they stand. And economics are economics. They are principles upon which it's based. So I'm saying to you, just because the exchange rate has come down to 18 from 24 does not mean that the costs are going to be lower. And I've given you the reasons for it. I've shown you, I've demonstrated to you.
Where do these agencies, such as Bloomberg and the rest of the agencies world over, get these figures if numbers don't lie? But where do they get these figures and say...
Because they don't live here. They don't live here. I'm telling you that. They don't live here.
The kwacha is the best performing in the world.
Well, you tell me. I'm not the one claiming it. I'm not the one claiming it. All I'm saying to you is your position as a party, as a pact, as a government matters because it is you who must think the things through.
But what I understand...
Because of each economy differs from the other.
But what I understand is that Bloomberg has got economic experts that would do,
So you don't consider that Zambia has no economic experts? I'm an expert.
That's why I'm challenging your position based off of their expertise.
Well, I'm just giving you the answers. I've given you the facts here. Are you feeling the difference in price? You too. Be truthful to yourselves. Are you feeling it? No. How about the people in Bauleni, where I live? How about the people in Matero, where some of us go to? How about the people in Charleston? How about the people in Chawama and Kanyama? How do they feel it? At my place, at my home, my workers now, they come there, they eat breakfast. I have to buy them breakfast, sweet potatoes and chiwantu in the morning at 10 o'clock. At 14 hours, they want to have lunch, supper. I have to buy a bag. Every week I have to buy a 25 kilogram bag of milk for 5 people.
For 5 people?
For 5 people. 25 kilogram. They have got to eat because they're not going to eat at their homes. You understand?
Okay.
They're eating at my place. And then I have to say to myself, if I don't feed them, what happens? They're not coming tomorrow. They will go to do some temporary job. So what I'm saying to you is that this, we have to be truthful to ourselves. I don't know why, even in the politics, people want to lie. Why not just tell the truth? Bloomberg does not live in this country. Bloomberg does not live in Chawama. Bloomberg does not live in Bauleni. Bloomberg does not live in Charleston. I can tell you the things because you too are feeling it in your own homes. I'm also feeling it. My workers at my place are doing just that. I would like to pay them more. But I'm constrained. I'm operating in this environment. I'm operating in this economy. And you have agreed with me. You've been silent. So meaning that you can't answer the question because you know very well that the cost of living has not come down.
That's not the correct position.
Okay. All right. Oh, so you can afford? Well, you can afford, but not
if
so
you
many.
can afford to buy your employees 25 kilograms
because I don't have
milk,
a choice. If I don't do that, they will not come
where
to
are
work.
you getting the money?
Well, this is what I'm saying. It means that I've got to forgo other things.
Okay.
I have to go forgo other things. I've got to put off maybe if it's a construction of a house, I've got to put it off. I've got to delay it because I'm operating in this economy.
What would the People's Pact do differently?
I've just said that to you.
With regards...
Change the policies, review the policies, look at what is beneficial to Zambia.
It's blanket when you just say change the policies. Specifically, which policies would you change when voted into power?
All right, let's put it this way. We have gone through 2 years of no power. What is being done right now to overcome that problem? Tell me. What power station have we built since that time? In the last 2 years.
It is importing power.
Come on. So you're importing power. And if the other country is hit by drought, what happens?
That's why the government also explains that they have invested in
remember what I said to you.
Energy.
We have to, you know the difference between thermal and the hydro. Do you know that? There's a capacity. You see, again, people make general statements without understanding the implication. I was at Mfria Mine. We're operating an electric furnace to melt the copper. You know how much power it was drawing?
Tell me.
It's quite different from the kind of power you're talking about. Okay. So what we have available as a country at the moment is less than 4,000 megawatts of power. Now, you are importing that power, which you are making the difference on. You're importing it. But are you not paying more for it? Are the people not complaining? What I'm saying, once we get into office, we will have to start constructing. There's a lot of water in Luapula. There are 3 projects which have already been identified in Luapula, which will enable you to get additional hydroelectric power. You've got water flowing on the Kalonwishi River from northern province into Luapula, which goes into Lake Mweru. Okay? But we have to take those steps. There is also the Batoka, the big one. The Batoka, 2,500 or no, 2,400 megawatts. You have to bolster that. What you're talking about on solar is mostly to do with lighting in the homes, things. You cannot use it for heating and so on and so forth. So what I'm saying to you, that even just a general statement that yes, we're going to do this, we're going to do it, is not enough.
The UPND says we faced a drought.
Our issue is not just with UPND.
What if the country faces another drought and the only thing you're focusing on is hydro energy?
It's not just hydro. I have just explained to you.
Okay. You've explained that
your biggest capacity, your biggest capacity is in that area. For the kind of things you want on the mines, that is the kind of power you require. Yes, the solar can be used for lighting, it can be used, I've just explained to you, for light duties. All right?
What other form of energy other than solar and hydro?
Also, you would have to convert. For example, most of our motor vehicles at the moment, they are on fossil fuels. What is our policy on electric vehicles? What's our policy? What is our policy on crossover vehicles, for example? The EVs are the major source of your revenue. That's why the prices of copper are rising. Okay. All right? That is rising because the consumption of copper is going up because other countries are converting to electric vehicles, to semi-electric vehicles. I'm talking about hybrid vehicles. I'm talking about all this. So it is important for you to understand that when we raise the issue, it is not just to criticize the UPND government. It is any other government that comes there after.
Honorable Sichinga, we need to move on. I know for sure we need also to bring in us a few calls due to time.
Right.
But I had mentioned...
So what we have agreed on is we need an equitable resource ownership. That's what we're saying, okay? We also want a responsible, empowered citizenry. Okay. Because they are benefiting from that economy for the reasons that we've already stated. Increased employment, increased the conversion of that copper into finished commodities, which are giving you a higher price. So therefore, you're generating more in terms of income. I think we've agreed on that. All right. It creates jobs for the young people, who are the majority of the people. We agreed on that. So that is what will lead us to sustainable national development. This is what we'd do to lay the groundwork in the first 3 months. We have less than 10 minutes here. Let's quickly look at, the parties or the PAC's credibility. Right. You recently parted ways with Peter Sinkamba. Yes. And if you can't maintain a partnership with a small green party, how can Zambians trust you to manage a diverse cabinet over 20+ ministers without falling apart in these 6 months? Yeah, it is not my wish to discuss personalities. Okay. All right. Just bring us up speed. For me, I'd like us to discuss the policies of the country because that is much more important. And we've worked very, very closely and very, up to that time, amicably with our colleague, the Green Party and Mr. Sinkamba. So I would rather not go into the details of the parting and so on and so forth. However, what I can say to you is bringing political parties together, bringing other pact members together is not an easy task because people are basically saying, it must be me who must be president, it must be me who must be the leader, it must be me, I must acquire a certain thing. Right now we are seeing all these movements between the various pacts. Some of them are looking for livelihoods, other people are looking for jobs, other people are looking for certain other interests. So when people do part in this particular situation, I think the best people to ask that question will not be me, but the parties concerned. Right? As far as we're concerned, the pact had certain conditionalities that we all needed to abide by. If you cannot agree on that, you cannot abide by that, because the pact needed a legal framework in which we all had agreed that we would do. So if one party is saying, no, I'm not going to be compliant to that, it means they've not accepted that arrangement. So I'll leave it at that particular point in time, because I think that's the best way for us to deal with it. Yes, there will be people that will agree with you, there will be people that will not agree with you. So our job is to make sure that the people of Zambia understand that the purpose of what we're pushing ahead is this, that, and the next. And if the Zambians were so knowledgeable, we would not be where we are. Most of the people bakonke chimwela. Okay. See what I mean? In other words, we'll go with where the wind blows most. Maybe we eat something, maybe we'll drink something, and so on and so forth. So we all have responsibilities. The leadership has to be truthful. How about other political parties that are not going to conventions? Honorable Sichinga, let's bring in a few calls. We have less than 6 minutes to be here. That's right. Good evening. You are through to Spotlight.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
All right, that line dropped. Hello, good evening. Bueno Unibwanji, Mr. Banda, how is Sinda? We are okay. Please go ahead. We have very limited time. All right.
We are failed. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Banda.
All right.
Do you want us to answer, Mr. Banda? Take another call?
Yeah. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Very fine, thank you. Senior citizen, we are with Honorable Sichinga. What is your comment?
Yes, I just want to ask you a single question.
Sure.
Yes, when we went to party democracy, then privatization came in. Most of the companies were actually privatized, and all of them have gone under.
Mm-hmm.
You've actually seen that. Now, with this government, only NAPSA has come out to actually fund our road system. Out of all these, okay, I actually estimate some of the companies which are privatized are water utilities, and you see the mess in which they are.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure you can run mines, Honorable Sichinga, with the current manpower that is available to you?
All right.
Okay, this state in Zambia, the UPND has only been in power for 4 years. Surely you can't appreciate the work that we've done within 4 years. Okay, this country was described as a junk status. Okay, we had nowhere to borrow money. Who is watering Russia mines? Okay, can a Zambian do that? Be honest, we know.
Yes.
You've been in government for a very long time. But what we have right now is a person to move us out of this poverty without.
All right.
I think the point has been made. Let's answer you.
I think I'll end here.
All right, thank you.
Let's
Let's
answer
bring
you.
one last call,
Yeah.
and then we allow our guests to respond. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Mwabumba Shani.
Mkwaye mletu na kuisa.
Nine Moses kuno kwa John Lenge.
Ba Moses tuatasha sose ntumfwe.
Mkwaye ili aba opposition yakwe wati walidanda ula pali justice. So ine bakalamba foni ngalanda pali ba sogoleri ba Bob Sichinga ubwafyo bombwene ko bakalamba ni baddaje abo bafumine mu PF mwamona baisa joina UPND apa futi bali mu socialist bali bombana ba president mwamona so that wishive stands uko beminini bantu nga bali mina ko policy imo teti bali kuma baya mu political party bafuma baya mu political party bali ruvyanya abantu balingire bayimina pa kintu kinga kimo and futi kuli abo abantu bali bombana natumona abapenezo okuti ba Peter Sinkamba bafuma muri mu kusupport yo People's Pact mamona so nishibalita babo abali bamulu pali bale tungirira tabakwete vision ya kuteka ekyalo bantu abantu bale kutuka mu kipani icha ndebi time natumona nabambira bambya bachi bale kutuka bena tovinta bonse babutuka so wa top abali pamulu eba shiri bwino abo muri support limbi imwe mwawama kubantu muri sta explain buno ebintu kuchira bale mwabika abo muri support ajibake mine paparo iko ninga a contribution ya nibagara.
Thank you so much, Moses. All right, let's allow our guests to respond. Mr. Banda from Sinda, a senior citizen as well, and Moses are the three callers that we had.
Okay, let's just go through this. First and foremost, for those that are asking, especially I think senior citizen, it says that can we run the mines? All right, let me answer you, sir. I worked for the CCM. I worked for the mines. Okay? So you can't question me because the mines survived. The mines worked. The mines were successful. So you can't question. In any case, the people that were running the mines were not other people. Yes, there were some expatriates, but the bulk of the people that were running the mines were Zambians. And there are some, fortunately, many of them are living right now. Many of them were trained because they were miners' children, people like Emmanuel Mutati, people like Obano Mutati, the elder brothers to Felix Mutati, our minister. You are talking about people like Gilbert Temba. You are talking about Jonathan Njovu. You are talking about Chileshe. Say people, Zambians that were running. Some of them, as I said, are living right now. So you can't turn around to me and say to me that you cannot run the mines now. That's the propaganda you are being fed, Zambians, and so you are going to depend on other people from other countries because you are not capable of running the mines. That is why they are going to eat masuku over your heads, because you don't believe in yourselves, you have no confidence in yourselves, you have no confidence in your citizens, because you yourselves have not been there. Let me ask you this question. How many of our ministers that are in the current government have been underground? underground, going into the mines and underground and seeing what happens there for them to decide that people cannot run those. Who are the people that are running the mines underground? So that is a misnomer that I think you should not believe. You should always think of yourselves as capable and having to deal with it.
All right.
That's the first thing. Moses raised the issue that I have moved from there. And I will tell you, Moses, you don't know, let me tell you, I was deputy president to Mr. Mazoka in UPND. We formed UPND. Okay?
He questions your stance.
No.
What do you stand on?
I'm just answering that question. I mean, give me the chance.
Sure.
Give me the chance, Kojera.
Our time is up.
No, but you see, well, then you don't invite me.
No, the time is up.
No, but I'm also telling you.
But you can go ahead
I want to answer that question. I was vice president to Mr. Mazoka for the economy. So the things that are being talked about, the things that are being raised in the policies of European, I formed. So you can't, it was built over these shoulders. You can't question me. All right? But if it's not being done according to how we had planned it, I have every right to say it is not going the right way. I will not support this because this position has changed. And circumstances in any country, in any economy, they also change. I also want to say to you that some of the listeners, our listeners, have already made up their minds. They prefer to support a particular position. And I'm saying that it's their right. I don't have a problem with that. They can choose to do that. So the issue of the pact in terms of leadership, I think is the last one that was asked about.
Yes.
All right. The pact leadership. If only the people knew how much effort has been made to try and bring people together. This particular party was refused, UPND was refused to be in government from 2001. That is the first time we went into election. 2001. How many years? 21 years. When were they allowed into office? 2021. So you can't use that as an argument for crying out loud, our people.
We get to our final part of our conversation,
right?
And this is.
I hope we understand each other.
This is a quick fire, this is a quick fire session.
If you don't follow what is right for the people of Zambia, I will not support you, and I will change my position.
The rule, Honourable, for the last section is yes or no. Will you reintroduce fuel subsidies?
We may.
And is the IMF deal good for Zambia?
No, it is not. It is not good. You see, what it is that you use IMF because it's an internationally recognized organization. Where has IMF solved people's problems? Where? Tell me. To give me one country where they solve the problems.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate President Hakainde Hichilema's economic performance?
Poor.
1 to 10?
Yeah, around 4.
What
because
is
the argument has the argument? Let me justify that particular point. The argument of rescheduling debt cannot be a solution.
Okay.
It's not a solution.
We have to go.
No. Don't do that because it's not correct. Just look at the road from Livingstone to Sechek. Just look at it. What have you got in your hands? How are you going to have transportation? Tell me what is new that the government has introduced. Tell me just one thing.
Let's look at the promise as we go. What is the one thing a Zambian will see in their pocket by December 26 if the pact wins?
Not very much by 2021. You're talking about 2021?
2026.
26, all right. 2026, because you're doing the formative stages. It will be a change of policy framework. That's what they would see from the People's Pact. That's what they'll see. Right. You have to reorient your policies, all right? Because whenever there's a change of government and change of position, you have to reposition it in order to be able to respond. It will be focusing more on agriculture. We'll be focusing more on ownership of resource mobilization. We'll be looking at industrialization. We'll be looking at increasing the revenue base for the country. That's what we'll be looking at.
Honorable Sichinga, we've covered a lot tonight.
I want you to invite me again, and I'm inviting Chimba and Nkojera. I want you to invite me again, and I want us to take each aspect of the topics.
Yes.
Because you see, this issue of talking them in 30 minutes or an hour is not sufficient to allow the people who may be doubtful about themselves.
We'll sell you 2 hours.
Give me 2 hours.
We'll sell it to you.
Absolutely. We'll say, all right, let's agree on that. We'll do that. Yeah. But what I'm saying to you is that because people don't understand economics, people don't understand certain aspects, they tend to hide. They don't want to come out in the open and it's like they're exposing themselves. I am saying to you, we as Zambians, this is our country. It is our responsibility to bring about achievement and development to our country. Nobody else is coming to do that for us.
All right.
And we have to believe in ourselves, Nkojera. I believe in myself, and I believe we can do it.
We're grateful for making time to be with us this evening. This has been Spotlight, and we like having conversations, and we like having conversations with you. Thank you very much to you that managed to call in, and the messages were flooding and still flooding the inbox. We will...
I would like you to share that with me. Sure. and also to say that I've got a track record when I was Minister of Agriculture, when I was Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry. I have a track record. Check it out.
Okay.
And you tell me what I didn't do.
Indeed.
Right.
Now join the conversation on all our social media platforms as this conversation continues. And indeed, we are back on Monday at exactly 20 hours from me, Alfred Chimba, as well as Saidlis Konjera. It's good night and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Good night.